All right, it's now time to welcome a very special guest to the show, a band that I have loved for a long time and I saw again last year at Stand and Call-In, and one of the best live performances that I can remember in pretty much forever. It's time to welcome Ed from Editors to the show.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
That was a very generous introduction. Thank you.
But a real heartfelt one, because you're a band that I hold very dear to my heart, Ed. So,
good on you. Good on you. Thank you.
Without sounding like a sort of weird musical, thank you for the music.
What the songs I'm singing?
Yeah, that's
right,
it. Yeah. Oh, it's ABBA, isn't it? Of course.
I'm really pleased. Yeah, we've had a pretty good career, so it's nice that people are still, following us, and people that maybe you've got some good memories of us from, when we first came out back in 2005, are sort of maybe re-engaging with us a little bit still nowadays. So
yeah,
that's pretty amazing for a band like us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sort of case in point, I brought my missus when I was working at Stand and Call-In for the radio station to see you guys, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not really fussed about them," and she came away saying they were absolutely incredible. What a great live experience! So it was really, really good, and I think
kind of the aim. I think we're all we play so much, and to be fair, we don't play as much in the UK as we have, played in sort of Europe for a good number of years. So, we're kind of always doing our thing over there and getting better as far as I'm concerned, and it's quite nice to come back when people have possibly forgotten about us a little bit to sort of show that we've still got it in a certain way. Yeah,
and it must be quite frustrating, because as far as I'm concerned, and obviously like the numbers speak for themselves, you are a really good band, you do really well, but I guess sometimes for me, it feels like maybe that you almost completed your genre of music really early on in your career. Like, you kind of got to the top, and then it's like, what do you do then?
We changed. I think we just experimented as much as we can. I think we've never been a band to stand still, and there's certainly different things about music that we like to explore, and there's certain things we sort of keep on coming back to. We like to have a big chorus. Tom's got a pretty amazing voice, which has altered slightly over the years, but it's still him. He's still pretty. He's got that range, and he's got a bit of soul and a bit of grit to it. So yeah, we've kind of got that in our armoury, which is the main thing we want to base our songs around. Of
course, and also just like his the sort of live theatrical performance is a real sort of trademark of the band as well.
Definitely got a bit more confident on stage in the last 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was the biggest change I'd seen since, like, I saw you when you first started out to when I saw you at Stand and Call-In last year, was Tom's sort of on-stage persona has really blossomed.
I don't think we want to hide anymore,
Yeah.
I think there was definitely an uncomfortable air about us for a good time, so to be able to sort of, I don't know, it's, as I say, it's the experience. We've played so many shows in Europe and further afield over the last 10, 15 years. It's just kind of feels like we're meant to be there now, rather than being sort of pretenders.
Basically, the one thing that I think really you should just sometimes take back and really take stock of is you've sold millions and millions of albums, which hardly anybody anywhere can say that. Do you know what I mean? There's a very small percentage of people that have sold millions and millions of albums.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we did okay in the first few years. I think those sales dropped significantly year on year as we get older and things. The market's completely changed. The bottom has fallen out of.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody's buying records now.
No, exactly. But that doesn't matter. We're not ludicrously worried about that. We're not thinking, it was so much better when we first came out. It was just different. There's different ways of doing things. There's still people, there's still ways of getting out and communicating with your fans. It's just not necessarily going to be people going down HMV and picking up
If you can find a HMV anymore, you know.
Well, exactly. Good luck to that.
So I want to just change what we're talking about slightly for a minute, because I want to talk to you about all the good work that you guys have started doing in conjunction with Oxfam, and I know that some of the stuff from Violence, the album, is not from the act of, but obviously it's the same thing. From the album Violence is inspired by things, for example, like your trip to meet the refugees in Greece. Yeah, so I just wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about your experiences and some of that stuff.
Well, we've been really lucky to be... we've been joined up with Oxfam for a number of years. We've been trying to promote their work at our gigs and give them a little platform as to what they do, and when they invited us to actually go out and visit a refugee camp, we thought long and hard about it, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, because emotionally, is anybody ready for that?
Of course.
But we were certainly, we were delighted to be asked, and we just saw it as such an amazing opportunity to see the work that Oxfam, who we've been supporting sort of fairly in the background, did it at sort of first-hand quarters, really. So, that was our first trip out. We went to a camp in Greece. It was quite two different camps in Greece, but both of them were sort of more family-orientated. They had women and children in the camps, and so it was really quite an incredible experience to see how these families have travelled from many different countries for many different reasons, but only because they're trying to make their lives better mostly for their children. And then to be stuck in a kind of limbo situation between countries who don't particularly want them, and with no real sort of prospects of getting out of there. So that was our first trip over in Greece. It was two years ago, I think, and we were delighted to be going back to quite a different set of circumstances. We went to a camp in Serbia, near the city of Belgrade, a couple of weeks ago, to visit a camp where it was a really transitional camp, where those of men and sort of just young men, sort of between sort of 17, 18 to 30s, mid-30s, and they were all individuals who are seeking asylum in different countries, but they're sort of in limbo trying to get from one country through the borders of another. And this place was giving them shelter and food and a place to let off steam, a place to socialise, and a place to sort of, treat as their home for a couple of days while they try and make these attempts at getting across the borders, which never really ended up that successfully. So, it was a remarkable place full of people who want to give them a helping hand, but it's one of these transitional places where they weren't sort of bedding down for months on end, but they were coming back and seeking sort of medical attention, shelter, as I say, from the blistering hot heat we've got at the moment, and then obviously in the winter that's going to turn to snowfall and icy conditions, for them to sort of get their energy up to attempt to get into a country who's more accepting of them for who they are.
So it's more like a kind of almost like a way of kind of giving them a little bit of, I don't know if conditioning's the right word, but sort of almost like get ready to kind of make that push to try and actually do something, rather than just like languishing in a camp where they can't see a way out.
Well, this is it. I think what it was trying to do was just to give them a sense of normality, a sense of, hope, and a sense of you kind of wanted here by your peers, by the people around who care about you, even though you're not at home. I think part of the campaign's real focus was to focus on what home means to us. Home for us as a band, or as us with our families at home, in comparison to these guys who've left their homes just to try and get a better life for anybody who's connected with them. So it was that really. It's really remarkable guys that we met there. A couple of them had started a sort of little band that they showed us, which was pretty cool. So they're just like us. They wanted to watch the World Cup. They wanted to play snooker. They wanted to work in the gym to build their young bodies up to the things that they felt like they should be doing all the time.
Sure.
It was part of that thing. You've got to have empathy with people that are going through these situations. And I loved it in a certain in a certain way, but obviously.
But I guess also it must have left you with some real sort of like harrowing reminders of how awful life can be, and like that is like a real noble kind of position to put yourself in, because like you said, you don't have to do that, and you don't have to make yourself think about these things, whereas I think it's all too easy to even as far as going, if Syria's been on the news for more than about 2 weeks, people start to stop caring and lose the effect, and loads of things are going on well beyond that even still.
Too right. That's the thing. We need to keep on going back and keep on sort of exposing people to what is going on every day in hundreds of countries across the world, and that's just a tiny little slice of some sort of hard times that people are going through. And luckily, I get to go back at the end of it and play a show at the end of the day, and then come home on a flight the next day. That's kind of easy for me.
Sure.
But I'm glad that I could go along and actually hopefully raise some awareness of, thanks for you guys for letting me come on and speak a little bit about it as well, because it really helps the work of Oxfam, who, let's face it, have had a pretty terrible year of it so far in terms of press and PR relations, and it sort of covers up, really taints the amazing work that 99.9% of that organisation has done over the last however many years Oxfam's been going.
And what would you, if you've managed to tug sufficiently on someone's heartstring that's listening to this, the sort of, other than just giving some money to Oxfam or to a charity of their choice, whatever, how would you encourage people to get involved in a way that could actually really make a difference? Well,
purely, I'm not expecting anybody to get on a plane and go and do voluntary work for an organisation in a war-torn country or anything. That's, people do that, which is incredible, but that's not what the everyday person would do. I think kind of the fact if you can give up some of your time to volunteer at a local level is just really important. It's just like the start of just showing people how you would care about anybody in a situation that's worse off than you. If it's close to home, that's fantastic. Luckily, I got to go to abroad to do it, but people can do that in their own towns or in their own villages or whatever. There's the camp that we went to, actually. We had a meal with the locals, and it was all provided by Oxfam, and it was all made in a kitchen in Belgrade, and all of those guys came out to serve it. So they were all volunteers. So it was just the fact that they were basically working in their own town, making food, serving food out to the lads that we were with every day. But they weren't going miles from their home, but they felt that they had a need to be involved in the community. So there's definitely things that we can do on a very local scale that will help in the long term.
Great. Well, first of all, like I said, just to underline that again, it's really great that because so many people in your position choose not to get involved, so it's great that you have. But before I let you go, I want to get you involved in a little bit of business that we do on the show. It's a feature that I've got called Best Guest, and basically I've asked these questions to all the guests that I've had on today, and I just want to ask them to you, and then see how you match up against my other guests. Is that all right?
So I get rated.
Well, I'm gonna pick the best answers at the end of the show, and if you get the most best answers, then technically you will have been the best guest, and that means that you can have anything you like from the imaginary prize cupboard.
All right, that sounds like a deal I can't turn down.
There we go, yeah. So think about what you want long and hard. So, question one, when you go to the cinema, Ed, what's your weapon of choice when it comes to the sort of confectionery stand?
I like going to the cinema in America, so it's because they have the melted butter that you squeeze on, and that's absolutely incredible. But also, if you put little Revels, if you shake a pack of Revels into your popcorn, so they sort of melt, and you occasionally get a melted Reveille mix of whatever.
And a sort of chocolately claw that you've got to wipe on whoever you've gone on a date to the cinema with.
Well, that's a bonus, isn't it?
That sounds like you've reinvented the snacks at the cinema there for me, Ed. I'm going to definitely try that. My producer Abby has just looked through the window at me at disgust when you said that. But so it's not for everyone, but I like it. It's a good answer.
Thank you.
Question number 2: if you were to open your own shop on the high street, what would it sell?
God. We've not got. Do you know we've not got a coffee shop where I live, and it's really ridiculously boring because everywhere's got coffee shops. But I would sell that probably. So that's not going to win any prizes for that answer.
Have you got a name for it though?
Again, this isn't my strong point. Get you going.
Get you going. All right, yeah, not bad, actually. Question number 3. This is in light of the fact that I reckon I've got the oldest laptop out of anybody that I know. It's 9 years old, and I can't pick it up off the kitchen table because it turns off. So, how old is your laptop, quite simply put? I'm expecting that you're going to say newer, but...
You would expect so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I can't run any music programs on my laptop because I got it in 2000 and I think it's 2006.
Wow. So yeah,
it's still going. I mean, the cord is the port is absolutely fried because it fell out of a taxi.
Right.
And but it's fine. It's still got a screen, still got some buttons.
Yeah, fine. That's exactly the kind of answer I'm after, someone that I'm akin to. Maybe I'll have a whip round and see if someone's doing a couple of laptops 2 for 1, and then we can get one each.
Yeah, I think we need it, don't we?
And question number 4, last time you went to a restaurant, what did you order?
I ordered... God, this is great. I can't even think. Can't think back. It was Heathrow.
Yeah.
The other day, I can't remember. It was rubbish. So I remember that it was a pad thai. And it was awful.
A pad thai in Heathrow. I'll avoid it next time I'm doing a long haul flight.
Do that.
I'll remember that sage word of advice.
It didn't make me feel very good for the flight.
No. Okay. Never sit next to Ed on a long haul flight. He makes bad decisions at the airport beforehand.
Very bad decisions.
And if you win, you can have anything you like from the imaginary prize cupboard. So what would you like, Ed?
The box set of Friends.
Okay.
On DVD, because obviously my old laptop still plays DVDs.
Excellent.
So that's all right.
Good. The only person in the UK with a DVD drive in their laptop.
Yeah, exactly. Probably you.
No, mine hasn't even.
Wow.
Yeah, mine's only 9 years old, so it hasn't got one. But
it's insane, isn't it? What silly world we live in.
Ed, listen, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Also, on a personal level, I just want to say, In This Light and On This Evening is one of my favourite albums of all time, so it's a real thrill to have you on the show.
Oh, nice one. Thank you very much.
And we're going to play Hallelujah, which is one of the songs inspired by your trip to the refugee camp. It's also on your current album, Violence, which is out now. You guys are doing British Summertime, Truck Festival.
Done it.
Oh, you've done it? Yes, of course you have. Truck Festival, Boardmasters, and then you start a UK tour in Southampton on the 7th of October. And if you are listening to this, if you ever take anything that I say as any kind of value, then go and see them, because they are amazing live. Ed, thank you so much for coming on, and
appreciate your time.
Next time you're around, come see us in the studio.
Will do. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks,
you.
man.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.